So on December 22nd, the NBA will officially be back. And with so many teams getting better, both conference standings will look different. So in today's video, I'll be giving my prediction on who I think the top 8 seeds will be in the Eastern Conference. Please drop a like on this video to help YouTube know you mess with my videos. Subscribe to the channel to help me reach 550 subscribers before the end of 2020. Or if you just want to see weekly NBA content, and comment on this video to start a conversation with me, because I respond to all comments. And play that intro. With the first seed in the Eastern Conference, I predict the Milwaukee Bucks to get this spot, because over the last 2 seasons, the Bucks have been the number 1 seed in the East by a pretty large margin. And with the Bucks clearly getting better this season, getting Drew and other supporting players, I assume that they will resume their spot as the number 1 team in the East. The Bucks have the reigning 2-time MVP in Giannis, who I believe is the best player in the East, and whenever you have the best player, you always have a good shot at the first seed. I expect Giannis to still have MVP numbers and be a defensive juggernaut. Milwaukee also has Chris Middleton, one of the most efficient 20 points per game scorers in the league, and I think he will be an all-star and be just as good as he was last year. Milwaukee also traded for Drew Holiday this year, and he might make his second all-star team this year, and can still play like a top 10 point guard. Around the big three of Giannis, Drew, and Chris, they have Brook Lopez, one of the best shooting and defensive centers, DJ Augustine, a solid playmaking and shooting backup guard, Dante DiVincenzo is a solid shooter who can play solid defense, and Bobby Portis is a backup big who can score the ball. So clearly this Milwaukee team is solid, and I think if you disagree with them at the number 1 seed, you're straight up wrong. With the second seed in the Eastern Conference, I see the Brooklyn Nets securing the spot, and this is mainly due to me thinking Kevin Durant will return as a superstar level player and be 80% of what he was before, which I believe is a top 5 to 10 player in the league. So I expect Kevin Durant to be Kevin Durant, and although Kyrie is very hated right now, he will still be a fringe superstar level player and a top 4 point guard. Around their duo of KD and Kyrie, they have a very good supporting cast, and players like Karis LeVert, who is a player who nearly averaged 19 points per game last season and can be a secondary ball handler. They also have Spencer Dinwiddie, who averaged 20 points per game last season and is a really good playmaker and ball handler. Landry Shamet is a very good perimeter shooter who will space the floor for Kyrie and KD, and DeAndre Jordan and Jared Allen will be solid rim protectors and lob targets. So clearly this Nets team has a lot of talent, and they might be the most talented team in the East. But the reason I don't have them as the number 1 seed is because there's a question of how good KD will be when he returns. Can KD and Kyrie stay healthy? Will their team chemistry be good? And also there's a huge question about their defense, because they might not have a single elite perimeter defender. And I don't include KD since he's coming off an injury. But the talent is there for this team, and they just have to put it together. For the 3rd seed in the East, I predict the Toronto Raptors to get this spot. And I already know this prediction will get some backlash, but just hear me out. I think the losses of Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka are somewhat big losses, but to make up for those losses, they signed Aaron Baines, who I think at this point is better than Gasol. And I think Ibaka's production will be replaced by other rising players like Chris Boucher, OG Anunoby, or others. This Raptor team still has Pascal Siakam, who I expect to be even better next season, as he's more used to being the number 1 option. I don't see Kyle Lowry slowing down anytime soon, and I think he can maintain his all-star status as well as being a top 10 point guard in the league. I think Van Vliet will live up to his huge contract and will be a high teen scorer, and OG Anunoby is primed to take an offensive leap next season, along with staying one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. Norman Powell will stay slept on and stay one of the contenders for the 6th Man of the Year award. And mark my words, between Terrence Davis, Matt Thomas, Chris Boucher, or their rookie Malachi Flynn, one of those guys will have a huge role and be a breakout player. With all all these other teams making moves, I feel Toronto is getting forgotten. But I'm here to say I'm not sleeping on Toronto. With the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, I expect the Miami Heat to get this spot. And you might think I'm sleeping on the Heat, but I promise I'm not. I just don't believe they're as great of a regular season team, and they're more of a playoff team. Jimmy Butler proved last season he was a top 10 player in the postseason, and I expect him to be just that. They paid Bam Adebayo a huge contract, and I think he will continue to be a defensive anchor, but I expect him to also shoot some threes and more mid-ranges this up-and-coming season. Goran Dragic is getting older, but I still expect him to play like a top 15 point guard. But I do worry about the injury that he got in the finals. Tyler Hero will probably be more efficient next season and just overall slightly better. Duncan Robinson will still be a sniper, and in this offseason, they acquired Avery Bradley and Maurice Harkless, who bring defense. So I expect the Heat to be even better next season, but I don't think it will show as much in the regular season. With the 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, I predict the Boston Celtics to secure this spot. And I know Boston is coming off a conference finals appearance, so this ranking may seem low, but don't forget Boston lost Gordon Hayward this offseason, and I think his loss will matter, especially during the regular season. Kemba Walker is also expected to miss the first few weeks of the season, and with the season being shortened, every game matters even more. I expect Jason Tatum to take another leap and be a 25 points per game scorer throughout the whole year, and in the playoffs he showed better passing as well. Jaylen Brown might take the leap to be a first-time All-Star because I expect him to have a bigger role. Boston's biggest weakness last season was the center position and their bench depth. And in the offseason, they signed Tristan Thompson, who's a good rebound and an average starter, and Jeff Teague, who's a solid backup point guard. Although these are solid moves, I don't know if this fixes any of their problems, so I have no reason to believe they will be better than last season. With the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, I have the Philadelphia 76ers in getting the spot. And although I believe they improved a lot with their additions of Seth Curry and Danny Green for floor spacing and Dwight Howard to be a solid backup, I just don't know if those are moves that will make you go from one of the more disappointing teams to a top 3 or 4 seed. Joel Embiid will still be a star, but I expect him to miss around 10 to 15 games, and in this shortened season, every game's matter. I think Tobias Harris is a player who has reached his ceiling, which is a high teen scorer. Ben Simmons will have his best season next year due to all the floor spacing Philadelphia added, and I think he could realistically win the Defensive Player of the Year. I think Philadelphia will be a good team, don't get me wrong, but I think they will still be one of the more disappointing teams and won't be as good as people think. With the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference, I see the Washington Wizards securing the spot. And this is mainly due to the fact that they acquired Russell Westbrook, and I can't see a duo of Russell and Beal not being a top 8 team in the East, especially since they're surrounded by solid players such as Rui Hachimura, who I think will be a high teen scorer and be their 3rd best player, Davis Bertans, who is one of the best shooters in the league, Denny Advija, who looks like he could be a rookie who can make an impact immediately out the gate, and Thomas Bryant is a solid starting center who can hit some threes. I expect this team to be solid and be a top 5 offensive team in the league, but they might be the worst defensive team in the whole NBA. I feel they will be a fun team to watch, but not serious contenders. The 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, I see the Indiana Pacers securing the spot. And yes, I do have them over the Hawks. And that is because this Indiana team low-key has a lot of talent on their team, like Miles Turner, who is a pretty good center, TJ Warren, who exploded in the bubble, and I expect him to be a 20 points per game scorer this season, Malcolm Brogdon, who proved he was a really good starting point guard last year, and I think they have 2 all-star level players in Domantas Sabonis and Victor Oladipo. Sabonis was an all-star last year, and I think Oladipo will prove he's just as good as before. Between them and the Hawks, I don't know who's better, but I'm going to go with Indiana because they have been the playoff team for the last few years, and the Hawks are very inexperienced. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Let me know your Eastern Conference predictions. Like this video if you like the video. Subscribe to my channel to help me reach 550 subscribers before the end of 2020. Or if you just want more weekly NBA content, comment on this video because I reply to all comments. And if you want to start a conversation with me, and check these two videos up above if you like this one, and I'm out.